Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today we're taking a look at a new roll and write about climbing mountains. This is Trek 12, Himalaya. In this game, each player is going to have their own sheet of paper. A player is going to be rolling a couple of dice, and much like in many other roll and write games, everybody's going to be using the same roll to put something on their sheet of paper, ultimately try to make specific combinations, try to come out ahead, right? Have the most victory points. It's got a basic standard mode. You can play solitaire. You can also play a little adventure mode in which you climb through 3 peaks in succession and you score based on how well you did at each one, okay? There's also a few envelopes that come in here sealed that are supposed to be little surprises along the way. I'm not going to get into those. I do want to, save the possibility for them to surprise you if indeed this captivates you and you're interested in checking it out. But I'm going to give you enough to hopefully let you know if it's something you might want to look into, okay? Let's go ahead and cut to the table. Let me show you how it works, and I'll see you back up here. So here's everything that comes in the game. You're going to have 2 dice over here, 2 nice wooden dice. You have 3 manuals. You have 3 pads of sheets representing different peaks. And you've got these envelopes over here that are things you can unlock throughout the game, as well as a small deck of cards up here, okay? So, the 3 manuals represent the basic rules over here. The Trekker's Manual, which is mainly what I'm going to be focusing on here. To play that, everybody has 1 sheet from the same mountain, one of these 3 mountains, and you are going to be playing, against each other, trying to get the highest score possible. Solo up here is picking a mountain and you going up against an AI opponent that you will run riding on their own mountain, all right? And then this one is a way you can play in which you're going through all 3 mountains, getting a score from each, then going on to the next one and the last one and seeing who did the best across them all. In that mode is where you may unlock what's in these and where you will play with these cards. And we'll take a look at how that works once I give you the very basics of how the game works, okay? I'm not going to be showing you what comes in the envelopes. Suffice it to say, what you're finding in there is more of what's out here, okay? Different new things to mess with. That's basically it. No particularly crazy twists, just ways to enhance what's already out here. So let's go ahead and show you how the basic Trekker's Manual teaches us how to play the game. The main thing to remember here is that you're going to be scoring based on 2 things: mapped zones and fixed lines, okay? This is the mountain I'll be using to show you the demo, but here's another one I've got, which shows you one already finished. This was me against the AI, actually, but this is the same it would be if I was playing against anybody else. So you'll see numbers filled in. You'll see some shaded areas that have the same number, and then you'll see some numbers that have a little link between them. Those will always be in sequence, right? So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and those are all linked. You'll also find at the end of the game I have some crossed out ones here, which were penalties. They weren't linked to any fixed lines or any mapped zones. And then I wrote down some score down here. So we're gonna get to that over here. So here's how it works. Somebody rolls the dice, and then everybody is going to use that roll to mark something on their board. The very first time you mark anything, you can put it in any one of these circles you want. After that, it has to go next to a circle already filled. My choices as to what I write are determined up here. And so I can choose to mark the lowest die, which would be a 0, and then I would put an X up here. The highest die, which is a 3. The difference between them, which would also be a 3. The sum, well, that's also a 3. And the multiplication, which would be a 0, okay? If we change up that to be, let's say I rolled a 3 and a 5 like that, then it would be the lowest at 3, the highest at 5, difference is 2, the sum would be 8, the multiplication is 15, except I can't go above 12, okay? So if I did that was the only thing I had left, that would actually be a penalty. Let's say this is what I got, and I choose to say I'm going to take the highest. I'm going to mark an X right here, and I'm going to put that 5 anywhere I want. I'm going to put that 5 right there. And everybody does this simultaneously. Then we roll again. I got a 3 and a 6 there. Great. I'm going to go ahead and do the highest again. I'll mark that off again, and I'm going to put a 6 right here. And these are now going to be linked because it's the numbers are sequential, so I can put a little mark there to remind me that that's what I intend to do. You'll see some circles have a darker line on the outside. Those are dangerous spots. They can only have up to a 6. The other ones, the normal ones, can have up to a 12. Once everyone's done that, we do it again. Okay, I rolled a 5 and a 4 there. And now here I could show you the other option, okay? Or I could not. I could take the lower and put a 4 somewhere. Right here, for example, and link that. Great. It's a good line. Or if I had taken the 5 and I put that 5 somewhere, let's say I put the 5 right here, now I've created a zone, okay? I've mapped a zone, and you want to put a pattern in there somewhere. Some kind of pattern so that you know, okay, these are all in the same zone. Same numbers are the same zone. It also might be something that doesn't go next to anything, right? You might put a 1 here later on. And at the very, very end of the game, if that's neither part of a zone or a mapped line, then it's a penalty. You put a little sad face in there, or you can just cross it out, whatever you want. That's at the very end of the game, okay? Once these are all gone, you can see obviously these things are going to start becoming depleted, of course. Once it's all said and done, then you're going to score some victory points down here. For both of the different kinds of scoring situations, they work the same way. You are going to get as many points, so let's say the lines, for example. You're going to get as many points as the highest number. Let's say I also managed to put a 3 right here. The highest number is 6 plus 1 per circle. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if I manage to put a 2 right here, so that didn't happen, that would be a 2 plus 2 circles, that's a 4. And so on. This one, 2 5s, so the same way to score for those. 5 plus 2, which is 7, and so on. Over here, I'm going to get a bonus for the longest group. So if it was 3, 4, 5, 6, and that was the longest, it's 4 length, I get a bonus of 3 to my rope. And then for the bottom one, let's say the biggest group I did was only 3. Let's say for some reason I had another 5 over here. Well, okay, that's only 1 point there. I figure that out, I get my total, and then over here I'm going to get a penalty. This you can skip for now unless you do the advanced way to play, yeah? Over here is penalties. Any numbers that, again, were not related to anything. So that, let's say, that is going to be -3 for each bad one. You cross those out or put the little face there, and you lose 3 points for that, and you figure out what your total is. That's basically it, okay? Talking about the advanced way to play. You are going to go through 3 mountains in increasing difficulty. This one, the 65 plus, 70 plus, which I just showed you, 75 plus here, which is the last one you play. So everybody begins with this one. You're going to shuffle up these cards, these helper cards, and you're going to reveal as many as the number of players plus 3. So let's say I'm playing with 2 people, okay? So I'm revealing 3 of these for 5. So 2 players plus 3. If they are the same kind, you can stack them together. And then these, anytime a player makes a grouping, a mapped zone, that is made up of 0s or 1s or 2s, you get one of these cards. So going back to our example, what I mean by that is, it might seem obvious, but what I mean by that is, if I have 1 here and then a 1 here later on, these are of the same kind, right? So I'm going to get one of these cards. And so I might get this one, the tent. And I'll keep that until I want to use it. In this case, I can do one more extra sum. I could have an extra box out here with the sum that I could cross out and take the sum of the 2 dice. The rope over here lets you skip one location. So if I put a 2 out here, I'm allowed to do that. And then the rope can go from here, whoop, to there. Okay? That's how that works. That's what the rope lets you do. And then this one over here lets you write somewhere that is not adjacent to the grouping. So if I roll an 8 and I don't really want to put an 8 or a 9 somewhere, I'm going to skip the usual rule of having to be next to something and use that. Once we're done with a peak, we're going to get some bonus points. Now this is the middle one, okay? But if we were looking at the original one here, the first thing is if you beat the standard for beating that mountain, so you got 65 or more points, you get 1 star. If you are the first player, you get a star. And if you beat the record, you get a star. What is the record? Well, the record is kind of like a running tally of who's done the best in the game. And that's on the back of the rule book over here. On the back of the rule book, which I have not defaced, you write who's done the best, okay? When they did it, what mountain, the points they got. And if anybody else in the future then beats that score, they get the bonus star, and they write their name, the date, and their score. And so this keeps a tally of the absolute best anyone's done on the mountain, which is a nice idea. It's a neat idea. So you can have up to 3 stars there. Once that's done, you get rid of that one, you go to the next peak. If you beat 70, you get your 3 stars. If you're the first place, you get 2. And if you beat the score of the mountain. And then for the last one, we've got this one right here. Okay, same deal. After you've gone through all 3 peaks, whoever has the most stars is the winner. And after each one, you replenish these. So let's say we took a couple of them. Let's say these were left and both of these were taken. You add to it 1 fewer than the last peak. So number of players plus 2 now. And you reveal these. And you can group like things together, like I said. And then maybe some of these are gone in the next peak. For the last and third and last peak, number of players plus 1. There we go. There we go. All right. So that's it. That's how that's going to work. You're trying to get the best score across all 3. If there is a tie for stars, then you can actually check these scores down here as a tiebreaker. That's it. For the solitaire mode, I'm not really going to go into. I'll tell you I didn't really like it. I'll talk about that in a second up top. But it's basically you're rolling for yourself and for your opponent. Wherever you put your number, you play the exact same way you normally would. Wherever you put your number, they put their number. You have to immediately make sure that you are keeping track of whether they get a frowny face or a connection or what have you. And then at the end, for every frowny face, instead of them losing 3 points, they actually gain 3 points. It's fiddly, kind of annoying, didn't really like it, all right? So there you go. Also, I should mention this part right here that I was saying it only works when you do this mode with the 3 peaks. Any of these cards you kept but never used at the very end there, or any of the peaks, you can discard them. And you get plus 3. If you are just a little bit shy of the total you want to hit to get over the threshold, you can chuck some cards to get you right over that. That's a good way to do it, okay? And you'd have to do that in turn order. So that's it, everybody. There you go. That is Trek 12. Let's go ahead and go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. All right, that is Trek 12, everybody. Let's talk about it. Let me break it down a little bit more. My main takeaway here is that while this is a clever little game, it's well put together. It's a lovely package. It's a box that is certainly filled to the brim with stuff. The game also feels a little late to the party. Boy, have we had some roll and writes. And we've certainly got some that do just about everything this one does, except maybe for having hidden things in envelopes, and that only works the very first time, right? After that, you have the stuff out of the envelope and it's just part of the game. That game, when everything's all said and done, is just okay. All right? Let's break it down, shall we? I'm going to just take it from the top. The theme, meh. The mountains and ropes, and especially the zones thing, don't really work. This is not a theme you can use to teach. You can start in the middle of the mountain and work your way both up and down. Doesn't really do anything. It's a bunch of circles, and you pick. It could have been a map of anything. It could have been a collection of molecules. It could have been literally anything, right? The aesthetics are good. I like the clean look. I enjoy that. I like the nice dice in it. I think they are lovely. These dice, They're perhaps a little light for some people. I know some folks don't enjoy wooden dice because they feel a little too, too light when you roll them. And these are light. But I like the way the numbers look. They sort of look penciled in. I think these are nice. And everything in the box, like I said, has a good look to it. Nice artwork. The replay value is pretty good because of the fact that there are a lot of little things to discover. So the replay value, if you would, is front-loaded, I think. I don't know if this game has the legs, but I think you're going to enjoy pursuing opening the little packages, okay? So that's good. Now, game arc, I think is really flat. This game is, like I said, brings nothing new really to roll and write games. Everything that's in there I've seen in something else before. You've probably seen in something else before. You probably own a couple of roll and writes already. And I don't know if this one has anything particularly new and innovative that would put it on your list as something else you want to add to your collection, okay? There are no highs and lows. You have to deal with the dice and you are filling in some circles and you see what happens. The flow of the game, a game session, is kind of flat, Ease of play, I would normally say is good, but the rule book is not particularly clear, okay? And that is because the company, the Lumberjack Studio fellas, this is a French company, and everything is in French, and a lot of the rule book, not a lot, but a decent amount of the rule book in English. There are chunks that weren't translated. You can find, you'll be reading and come across a bunch of French words, or whole sentences that got missed, clarity issues. So I would normally say the game is simple enough that it should be easy to play and understand, but there are going to be some issues based largely on translation. And then lastly, tactics, strategy, luck. It's a little, like I said, flat. You deal with the dice. Yes, you can take the sum or the multiplication or the difference between them. That's neat. It's the one mechanism in the game that I thought was cool. Certainly nothing particularly innovative, but cool. But that's basically it. You deal with the dice. You put them next to something else you've rolled. This is not any more interesting than a lot of the map-based ones out there. You have you'll have a map of Japan or the USA, and you put in numbers next to other numbers. Try to make sequences. Try to make groups. This is that. It's just kind of more of the same at this point. The envelope idea is neat. I just don't think it's enough to push this one over the edge. Okay, so there you go. Overall, it's okay. If you really love the look, if you are jonesing for another roll and write, there's nothing wrong with this one. It's just not exciting, and it's certainly not, for how many roll and writes we've had, it's late. This is not really bringing anything new to the table. So this is going to get a 6 out of 10 from me. I don't dislike it. I enjoyed my plays of it fine, but it's mostly the brains off, and I'm just sort of going along for the ride. I could be doing it with any other roll and write and get at least the same experience. So there you go. 6 out of 10 from me for Trek 12. And that's going to do it. My name is Zee Garcia. I'm going to see you guys on the next one.